Welcome back. Well, it's been 30 years since 6-year-old Morgan Nick disappeared from an Alma ballpark. And in those 3 decades, we've seen many changes in laws, especially surrounding the way law enforcement reacts and how we're notified of a missing person.
And here in Arkansas and beyond, Morgan's case has had a strong influence on some of those changes. KNWA's Gabriella Phelan explains how.
June 5th, 1995. A seemingly ordinary summer evening in small-town Arkansas.
We had been invited by some friends to come to the community of Alma and to watch their children play in a Little League baseball game.
Colleen Nick and her 6-year-old daughter Morgan left their home in Ozark for a night under the lights.
We loaded up in the car and came to Alma.
The bleachers at that game filled with cheers of excitement and the laughter of children.
We're watching the game. The kids come and ask Morgan if she wants to go catch fireflies. And this time she wanted to go, and she, pleaded with me to let her go catch fireflies, and I told her that I didn't think it was a good idea, that I thought it was too late and too dark.
Colleen, starkly unaware that moment would be etched into her memory for a lifetime.
Against my better judgment, I told her that she could, and she threw her arms around my neck and gave me a big hug, and she kissed me on the cheek. She climbed down out of the bleachers. That was the last time that I saw Morgan.
It was then that laws in the United States surrounding missing children started to shift.
I remember the story, I remember the coverage of it, and heartache of it, and the hope that she'd be recovered.
Former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson says he was just beginning his political career as a U.S. congressman when Morgan was abducted.
Well, whenever I was in Congress, that's whenever a national focus really happened on missing children and what more we can do. And of course, the congressional support for the National Center of Exploited Children, the effort of the national organizations combined with the Morgan Nick Foundation really raised the profile of it, and we did put resources into it. And states started changing the laws, making sure we had the Amber Alerts to make sure that we had the warnings out there.
Hutchinson says the disappearance of Morgan was the driving force behind his decision to pass legislation that has since helped to solve cold missing persons cases.
We passed legislation that actually supported more resources for finding solutions to cold cases, and setting up a unit in the Arkansas State Police dedicated toward resolving some of these very old cases, some of which involved child abductions, and in fact involved this case as well.
Now, even 3 decades later, Morgan's disappearance continues to send shockwaves across the community.
Well, since 1995, over the last 30 years, there's been a complete evolution, a total remake of our ability to find missing children.
While the unwavering love of her mother breaks all barriers, even in the state legislature.
I find the courage to get out of bed every day because my fight has always been for Morgan. If I stop fighting for her, everyone else will stop fighting.
Ryan Rose, a pastor in Van Buren, met Colleen years ago after a chance encounter at church.
For whatever reason, we both families just kind of feel like the Lord uniquely intertwined us.
As time passed, the two families formed a strong bond, and Rose, being a father himself, was deeply moved by Colleen's mission.
I don't think anybody can truly tell you what their response would be if they were in Colleen's shoes. I would like to think that my wife and I would do everything we could to fight for our kids and to rally everybody we knew to do everything that they could.
So after years of friendship, Rose ran a successful campaign for a seat in the Arkansas State House, pledging to advocate for missing children just like Morgan. He says in the 2025 legislative session, he witnessed Arkansas legislators go to great lengths to fight for children in the natural state.
Morgan's abduction, and incredibly importantly, the work of Colleen and the Morgan Nick Foundation, has done such a significant amount of work to make sure that her case, and the case of many other individuals, especially children that have been abducted, serve a purpose beyond just the hurt and the heartache that comes with an abduction.
Together, lawmakers authored and passed laws like Act 664, increasing the statute of limitations to 10 years for victims of human trafficking, which is the amount of time allowed to prosecute someone for a crime, or Act 653, which establishes a system to help locate missing children who do not necessarily qualify for an Arkansas Amber Alert. Act 976 was also signed into law, making the punishments for crimes against children carry even more weight. This year, Representative Rose even filed a House resolution to recognize Colleen on the 30th anniversary of Morgan's disappearance for her, quote, tireless efforts in the prevention and recovery of missing and exploited children. That resolution now framed and on display at the Morgan Nick Foundation. And while no amount of legislation or recognition will ever fulfill the longing in Colleen Nick's heart for her daughter, she says she hopes people will learn from her story that's still carrying on to this day.
Fireflies are the innocence of childhood. The last interaction I had with Morgan was when I told her she could go catch fireflies, and she threw her arms around my neck and gave me a big hug, and she kissed me on the cheek.
Just a powerful story and an amazing, the fact that we're continuing to say Morgan's name to this day, just so impactful. Next week, on the 30th anniversary, we will take a detailed look back at Morgan's disappearance and the investigation through the years. We'll talk with investigators who led the charge the moment she disappeared, the experts who broke the case open, more with Morgan Nick's mother, Colleen, and former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, who you heard there tonight. Our 2-hour special, Chasing Fireflies, airs in 2 parts next Monday and Tuesday.